tweet me that link?
Yeah, when I get it up, I'm gonna tweet it to you.
All right, cool. And I'll send it to this kid.
And we live. What up? What up? It's DJ Big Boss live and direct now. March Madness round 2 is here. I know you seen us last time, me and my man Big Ragu. Let me bring my man Big Ragu into the house. Big Ragu is here, ladies and gentlemen. He is here with us today. Let's bring Big Ragu in. What up, Big Ragu?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. What's going on the West Coast this morning?
Same old, man. Just recovering from yesterday. Just trying to get it in right now. Recovering from yesterday. Good time with the low baggers. How about you?
Yeah, I got up at a little breakfast this morning with a big smile on my face. Had a pretty good night last night. Had some in-game action, which I hadn't done in a little bit. Had good action on that, and gave out a few winners. Had one loser yesterday with Arizona State, but other than that, pretty solid. Not a bad day overall. Looking to build on that today.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
How was your thing last night? How did it go out? And
it was
how
cool.
did your viewing party go last night?
It was cool. My man Ski and my man Parlay Poppy, they got together, man, and they was doing some live betting over there. They hit a couple bets. It ended up being a nice night. Like it wasn't very good. A lot of people didn't show on us. I got to keep it real, 100. A lot of people didn't show on us, but at the same time, it's all good because we had a good time and people actually made some money off this one.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Ski has been kicking ass in the NBA. I know he's like almost like freaking in the high 60, 70 percentile range. It's crazy what that kid's doing.
Yeah, Ski's on, man. That guy, you gotta get a chance ever in your life to hang out with my man Ski, like, and Noli knows. I have to give it to my boy Noli too.
Oh, Noli was there too?
No, he wasn't there last night, but just from meeting a lot of low baggers and people like yourself and some more, you got to get a chance to sit down with Ski. The guy like really takes his time. He was in the bar, man, with like 3-4 pieces of paper printed out, stapled up, had his signings all over it, and he kept pulling it out. Well, right here, he could go right there while we were in the bar. He could go, yeah. So they were this last game and blah blah blah, man. That guy's awesome, man.
I call him a babyface killer because that kid, he's sharp-minded. He don't get frazzled. Comes across really good. So. His thoughts are when he puts stuff out there, it's well thought out. So, and then if he's got to think about something, he usually, picks it up right away. So, mad props to him. And of course, our boy OG, love him too. He's good peeps. I know he's your partner out there. So I haven't talked to him in a while, but next time you see him, you give him a personal hello from me.
Yeah, shout out to my bro Wham, man. That's my bro. That's my brother-in-law. He's got a little work thing going right now, so he doesn't get as much time as he used to. But he's still in the loop. He's gonna be watching the show, probably on his lunch break or something. He'll step in. So I went ahead and I'm gonna send you the tweet too. I went ahead and tweeted the show out. Like I said earlier when we was talking, man, it's not a lot of time to advertise these kind of shows now. So I gotta get live and then I gotta get to it. So let me reach out.
It's like you think. Just pull up to the chat. Sit down and enjoy it, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, though, Big Ragu. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to you, and you can tell them about your racing pick today.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's so some of you guys that follow me on Twitter, I'm a big race, thoroughbred guy. I love the horses this time of the year. All the Derby preps, which I kind of touched on the low bag show if you haven't seen that a couple weeks ago. But this time of the year they run what they call Derby prep races. It's all the races coming up to the Kentucky Derby. How do the horses get there where they run these races? And if they win enough of these races, or one or two of them, they're automatically a shoe-in. They take the top 20 best horses in the country and they run them in the Derby for the $2 million prize. But anyways, up to the Derby, they run these races every Saturday. You know, a horse will run anywhere from like an average of once a month, the top quality horses. And today they're running a race in Louisiana called the Louisiana Derby. It's $1 million race, meaning that, you know, whoever wins this race, the horse owners and the connections are going to get 60% of that money. So it's $600,000 to the winner. So it's a huge race. And there's a couple horses I'm looking at today. Now the last 2 years, John Velasquez has won this race, and the trainer is Todd Pletcher. He's on a horse called Spinoff. It's the number 10 horse. I'm going to bet 40 win and 40 place on him today. His morning line is 8-1, and that race is race number 13 at Louisiana Downs. I'm going to bet the 10 Spinoff. And I also like the 8 horse. The name is Country Home. He's probably the more seasoned horse. He's probably the better bred horse as far as for the distance. But I'm still going to run with the 10, but I'm going to use the 8 with him in an exacta box. I'm going to play number 10 to win in place, and I'm going to bet the number 8 and 10 in an exacta box for $10, which is $20. So it's $80, 40 win, 40 place, and $20 on an exacta box 8-10. So and the 8's going off at 9-2, and he's rode by Louis Saez, who's a pretty good jockey himself. Nothing to sneeze at. He was like the Gulfstream champ, and he's trained by William Mott. And William Mott just won the Tampa Derby when I was down there a couple weeks ago. The Tappet bred horse. So he's always got a quality horse running too. William Mott's a great trainer. So I think you're getting bang for your buck. Now the obvious favorite, and he'll probably be the Derby favorite if he wins this race today, Will of War. So he's undefeated so far. This horse. Probably the beast of the East. You know how Baffert always has the great horses on the West Coast. But now, what's going on with Santa Anita, with the track being shut down, I think it's going to affect a lot of stuff that's coming out of California because these horses are having to scramble get in these races. And last week they kind of split the race card at Arkansas. They ran 2 versions of the Arkansas, I think it was the Rebel Stakes, to kind of squeeze the California horses in. So that was nice of the track to do that. So because there's a lot of great horses in California, but Santa Anita is having their problems. They're just trying to get these horses on the track somewhere to run their races. But I know it's going to screw the schedule a little bit. So that's the only downfall. Baffert's always got the great horses. He's probably the best trainer going. We'll see what happens though. Anyways, if you want to get down a little horse action today and you want to follow my plays, it's the 10 horse at Louisiana Downs, race 13. Bet it.
That's what's up, Bagu. Hey, I hope y'all was taking notes right there. My man, a couple weeks back, some races was on. Big Ragu joined us. We had a little private chat going. Man, he nailed one so dead on the head. It was like if you ever nailed a nail into a piece of wood and you get that one nail that you sit right there, you tap it one time and you bam, smash it all the way through. Big Ragu smashed all the way through on them with the horse pick, man. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there watching that really appreciate you, Big Ragu, and myself.
That was the race in New York at Aqueduct. Jimmy had that horse too. We both had it. It was Kyle. He came out of the clouds like right at the end of the race and flew right by everybody like the last 16th. And that was a nice race. We caught that in another race together, which was nice. So it's always good when you're able to, communicate with everybody having a good time and making money, and makes it more exciting.
That's what's up, man. So how's your bracket going? For round 1, give the people a little know. I know you got a little bracket going out there. How many times did you get hit in the first round?
My bracket's got my bracket's like Swiss cheese right now. But the first day, I had a couple bad. I mean, not crying about it because that's the way it works. We all big boys and we're all like to have fun and put our plays out, you know. But anyways, the first day I lost. I probably split on the bracket side. On my play side, I made 5 plays, and I went 1, 3, and 1 Thursday, and then Friday. Yesterday I had a pretty good day. I think I went. I think I went 4-1. You know, on regular plays, and I went like 8-1 with the live play. So bracket's not looking too bad. You know, it's I probably lost out of all the teams. I think I have like I had 5 losses basically. So and 16 games. What is that? 11 and 5. So I got 11 alive and 5 dead. I want to say.
You got a body count on them out there like that, huh? You got a body count going, Big Ragu?
Yeah.
Let me switch
I
this
heard
over.
there's like 7. There's 7 people that have a perfect bracket right now. Whatever contest they're in, there's like seven live perfect brackets going right now. But probably by the end of the day, you know, they'll probably cut that number to maybe like 2 or 1 or something like that. And then going forward, who knows what happens? But I'm looking forward to the Sweet 16 next week for sure. That's always a fun time because then those lines are going to be a little short next week. So basically, how I like to approach the Sweet 16 is when, you know, once those you get the 16 that advance, usually you just looking for winners more or less because the lines you're not going to have them crazy numbers, you know, like 17 and 22. I remember years ago, the first rounders you even seen 30s, and the chalk they would cover those big numbers. But now, you know, when you get like last year, UMBC took out Virginia in the first round. You know, it was the first time a 16 beat a 1. And, you know, we had a couple early games yesterday. If you notice in these big numbers on the number 1 seeds and even some of the number 2s, you know, they're starting off slow, but then they're coming on in the second half and they're getting it done in the second half. You know, so like yesterday, Iona was beating North Carolina, right?
Yep.
And Tennessee was down. And what was the other team that was down big? I mean, they all came back. I think, was Gonzaga down yesterday? I mean, no, Gonzaga was the other day.
That was the other day. I'm not sure if they was down, but all of them were a lot too close for comfort early in those games. If you had some of those big spreads, I'm sure by halftime some people was in the sweat box already. Like,
man, yeah, no doubt. I mean, not only the sweats, but you got to think if you're playing first half numbers on those big numbers too. I mean, here you are. You say you got a team that's 20 point. You know. Like Kentucky, they got off to the game. They were like one of the few that got out there early. But, you know, some of these other teams, you know, they're double-digit favorites and they're losing the games, you know, almost or tied going into the halftime. You know, halftime betting this time of the year, you got to get your head examined. That second half, you kind of wrap your head around things. You know, you can see how teams like to play. Like I told the other day in chat, I told people about Gonzaga and Florida State, you know, being maybe getting off to a little slow start, you know, bet them in the second half, and they both did well in the second half, you know. But and I lost that Florida State. That was one of my losses on Thursday. I had them -8, and they won by 7. And then a lot of these games come down late to free throws. You know, when they start fouling, and you're laying whatever. You know, if you're taking points, you know, that's a different story. But if you're trying to play, you know, stay ahead of the curve. And you got a game that's close, and you know you got like, you know, it comes down to the last, you know, minute, 30 seconds in the game. You got to make those free throws, or hopefully, if you're on the other side, you hope they miss the free throws.
Yeah, a lot of that that's my favorite thing to hate about betting basketball is those doggone free throws. At the end of the day, it always becomes a little bit of a hassle with those damn free throws.
Oh yeah, well, especially if you got the 1-and-1s. You know, on the front end they miss it. And then, you know, you're supposed to get 2 shots, but you missed the first shot. Then that happened in the Villanova game. I wound up pushing that one, you know, playing 4. Some people had 3.5, which they won. But, you know, in the last 2 possessions, they missed the front end of the 1-on-1. All you had to do is make like 1 free throw, and that would have been the game. But they missed like both times, you know. So that's just the way. Basketball is crazy that way, man. It just goes that way, you know. And the bookies, that tells you what a great job the bookies did setting the lines to those games. You know, when they come down that close, that means the bookies are really, really sharp. The numbers are sharp, you know. And they'll be even sharper when the Sweet 16 comes, mark my words.
So I haven't really got a chance to I haven't really got a chance to break down much of the games. We had a good time last night. I'm gonna give you a chance, Big Ragu, to go ahead and get your Twitter and stuff together. I'm gonna go solo for a minute and look at one of these first games of the day right here. See if I can go through this with our people in the chat, man. Is that cool with you, Big Ragu?
Yeah, well, you want me to look at the first game of the day?
Yeah, but I sent out a tweet. If you want to go ahead and retweet it and see if we can get some more people over into the chat, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about this first game of the day.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, I got you.
Let me see. First game, I didn't already miss the LSU game. I was on LSU. I think in this LSU game, I think Maryland kind of shot they load. Like they had to really step up and shoot to beat Belmont the way they did. So I think that Maryland, they're gonna gas the rest of that little shooting that they got, and they're gonna go right back to doing themselves. And LSU is a kind of sneaky team. I can't believe they wait till now to try to pull this off, but they might be good going forward. I don't know. So I think I got LSU in this one. It's at a low line. It opened up at like 4, went down to like 3 out there. Some people got 2.5. So I'm cool. I'm cool with that, man. I didn't get a chance to bet it though, but I definitely would have took that. My wife, all us real cappers, it consumes so much of our life that we get our family and friends involved. But my wife, the other day with Arkansas, hit big, and she was going to hammer Arkansas again today. Looks like they're up by a few points right now, 11 points or something like that. 7 points. But yeah, they looking good right now. This LSU game looked like it's going to be a battle. Now, first game of the day that I kind of want to get my toes wet in is this Wofford and Kentucky game. Let's take a look at that, Big Ragu. You ready?
Yeah, the Kentucky game. Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
So, have you looked at this one yet?
I looked at I'm kind of reading some news on the game. I know that the Wofford kid, what's his name? The kid that's got all the threes, that's lighting it up. I mean, the whole team.
McCullen or something like that. McClung, something like that.
Yeah. Well, he broke the record on the. I had it bookmarked here. I don't know the kid's name, but I just know that the team is shooting lights out right now. They're all about the threes. They're like the highest percentage three in the land. So they live and die by that. And Kentucky right now, I think is it Williams. What's the kid's name that's hurt for them? PJ, the forward. He's not going today. So they're thinking that with him being out and Kentucky being young, and Wofford, a hot team right now, lighting the board up. A lot of the sharp money's on Wofford today. I know that line's dropping a little bit. So that's going to be a pass for me because, Kentucky, they usually show out this time of the year. That's a great Sweet 16 team, but you always have that Cinderella team. And Wofford, they could be that team this year. So it's a no play for me. It'd be a fun game to watch, I think.
Well, as for myself, it's kind of a must play for me, Big Ragu. I haven't really crunched the numbers, but if I had to just throw some money on something, I'd definitely take 5 points with a shooting team like Wofford. This Kentucky team has been known to be unstable, but like you said, they can come out and play a decent ball. So, you're taking a risk anytime you land some money on a game. This is one of those factors you take a risk. You kind of got to fast forward right here and think in your head like, do I see Wofford a couple more rounds down, or who's going to be the shocker in all the teams in the tournament? And this team right here, the way they're designed the same as North Carolina, Duke, and all that. As a matter of fact, one of the things I was saying the other day that I noticed is that when Zion was coming out of high school, Wofford were one of the first ones to give him an offer back in the 9th grade. Now, what does that tell you off top? That tells you that their team that's taking pride in recruiting, they want those upper echelon players on their team. And this group that they got together, the big that they got in the middle, he's awesome. They got 2 shooting threats because somebody was like, oh, Wofford shoots good from 3. Yeah, they shoot good from 3, but they shoot good all over the place. And only thing you really could bust them is if you really could manipulate their defense real good. if you can manipulate their defense real good to make them panic, you might have a good shot at beating Wofford. But if you're gonna let them move around, like if you're gonna play zone, they're gonna hit those open spots. If you're gonna try to play man, they're gonna take you to the paint. And they got bigs down there. They can throw the oop, they can do all kinds of stuff. So I'm definitely just going maybe like my man Parlay probably say a quarter of a unit, maybe just a quarter of a unit straight
right.
up on Wofford on the money
just
line.
Just have a little action, have some fun. Yeah, the kid's name is Fletcher McGee. He's a 3-point guru now. That's the kid.
Yeah, McGee. Yeah, McGee. Yeah. I think the McCullen dude is on another team, but yeah. So I like Wofford in that spot right there, man. Like I really can't. I'm probably gonna have to play the games later. But if you look again at Wofford from all kinds of angles, man, they're smashing. But when they see this Kentucky team right here, they shoot very similar. They both shooting about 48, 49%.
Yeah.
So but Wofford is killing them at the three. They're shooting 41%, and Kentucky shooting 36%. So Wofford can kill them from the three and also from the field. I mean, 49% for both teams. That's a high number right there.
Yeah, but you don't forget that P.J. Washington is out for Kentucky. He's their leading scorer, so that's a big factor. That was the kid I was talking about, Washington.
There you go.
The thing about Kentucky, they started off fast, right? They were preseason number one. They caught some rough spots, and then they started making a run towards the end of the season. They were getting not healthy, but they always have young teams because they have such a high turnover. I think last time we talked, I called Kentucky like the Alabama of the basketball. They're usually a lot of one and done through Calipari, but I mean they're going to be young and they're missing their number one player, their number one scorer. So they're primed to get upset today. So that's why I say for me it's either not that I don't like Wofford because I just don't like being on the same side that everybody else likes being on the same side. To me, you do have public and sharp money that come together sometimes. I think that's this case in this game. And sometimes, most times, the sharps aren't always right, but it's definitely a sharp play and it's definitely a public play today.
That sounds about right coming from a New York guy like yourself with the one pants leg up. You can't be like everybody else. You got to put the one pants leg up or something. You got to put a bandana on or something to be different. You can't be like everybody else. I feel you on that one, but at the same time too, Big Ragu, and from playing for a long time, and I seen King debating this the other day. You feel bad sometimes when you should have hopped on the team early. Like if this Wofford team is really real, today has the best value. They're getting points against this Kentucky team.
Absolutely.
And then when you go further on down, you see them in the Sweet 16 or you see them in the 8 and you try to jump on in and it's kind of like too late. So I've did some studies before and it's really true in baseball more than other sports, but I kind of adapted all over, is that most people are looking for the roulette. They've won 5 in a row or they lost 5 in a row. It's time for a change. So they go opposite. But in baseball, they say if a team you want to catch a team when they're on like a 2-3 roll, and then you want to ride it out until it falls off. And I think
10, 12 in a row, and when they lose one, get off them. When they win one, jump back on them again.
Exactly. So I think this right here in this spot for Wofford might be one of those spots where you want to go in and put a little money on the money line so you can ride them on in there and know that so you could be a real fan at the end if you see them in the 8. Like, I've been there since 32. So yeah, man, that's a good one right there.
That's good stuff. Good. That's a good. I like it. Good breakdown there.
Yeah, let's move on. What we got next? I think it's about to come on in a minute. Did you see Greensboro and Lipscomb? You got anything on that?
What is it, Greensboro?
Yeah.
Is that NCAA? Is that
That's
tournament?
NIT. That's NIT.
No, I don't have any NIT. No.
I feel you don't like them.
You know what NIT stands for? Not in the tournament. I mean, there's value. Don't trust me. There's value to play. So much going on with the other tournament. I'm an older guy and my brain's only can function so fast, so I try to pick, something like I look at something on the page like reason I didn't play that Wofford, not talking about the Wofford game, but you're right. That's a good analogy on that. But there was too many uncertainties for me, so I passed on that one. But I'm just into the NCAA tournament stuff. I don't have any action on the NIT.
That's right. So let's move to the Florida-Michigan game. Have you studied that one?
Yeah, Florida-Michigan. That's going to be, what's the number on that game right now?
Right now, it opened at 7. It's down to 6 right here, all the way across the board. I see 6. Oh, I see 5.5 at U-Wager.
Wow.
But who has U-Wager?
Money's coming in on the Gators, huh?
Just a little bit. I don't think a solid point is saying a lot, but if you could still get half a point out there, and I don't know.
That means half means everything.
Is that something? Is that something you think? Yeah, sometimes that half is everything. Let's talk about the two teams though. The way I see it, two big defensive teams right here. But okay, I like Florida's defense. Florida may be the play for me. I like Florida's defense. I feel they can win the game because this Michigan team, I think the Michigan team is kind of lopsided. They're not like sized accordingly. They got these two big dudes down, then they got this little dude over here. Like they don't have no real definition as far as size, but they've been able to manipulate each team wherever they assets take them. So if they can beat them at the guard play because they have a small, quick guard, then Simpson will go off. If they can beat them down low, then the bigs will go off. So they've been able to manipulate that. They're going to meet that team that's going to be able to lock that down all the way. And Florida is lasting because they play good D. They just started shooting well, and that's what got them like really past in the last game. But for the whole season, they really relied on their defense. I can say Michigan, they really relied on their defense as well. We might be looking at a clean under right here. I'm gonna turn it over to you for a second, Big Ragu. What you think about that game?
Yeah, Florida turned around and they had a pretty good SEC tournament. Now Florida, like I said, some of you guys that know, not too far away from where I'm at, so I see a lot of stuff in the media about them, and they wrote them off for dead before the SEC tournament even started. So with Florida coming in, they got real hot. They could have, they were one game away basically from, getting the job done in that tournament, and they're playing good. They're playing solid offense too. So they're playing both sides of the ball well. They can rebound. They can shoot. They defend. So right now, I kind of lean. If I lean one way in that game, I'm leaning on the Gators. If I had to put my money up.
I heard that, Big Ragu. Now for me,
that's a lean for me, not a play.
Now I cherish the Florida native in you and all the plays that you make in Florida. You're really on top of all those teams. But sometimes, Big Ragu, when you pick a Florida team, it's just because you like Florida better.
Well, I actually can't stand the Gators if you want to know the truth. I'm a Seminole, but I'm always cursed. I've always been cursed when I bet against the Gators. I guess they got my number, so to speak. But I got to be honest with you, the past couple years, except in football, like last year in football, they got me twice pretty good. The Gators did, but when they played Georgia. But anyways, I'm into what goes on in the Gators. Like I say, I was telling the guys before that, before they got into that SEC tournament, they wrote them off for dead. So right now they're hot. They're playing, they're gelling, they're doing a lot of the right things, and White's a really good coach. The coach that they have, he's, when Donovan left, a lot of people wondered how White was going to work out for him, and he had a rough first year, but every year he's kind of had his work cut out for him because now he's how they do just like in football. They start recruiting their own kids, so now he's kind of like in the meat and potatoes of his own system, so to speak. With his underclassmen, his seniors, that type of stuff. So I think going forward, they're going to play that same style of game, and it just depends on their matchups. I think Michigan is a good matchup for them, to keep it close.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of value with that 6 or 7 points, whatever you can get out there. Yeah. That's a lot of value. to me, 6 and 7 is some big numbers in basketball.
Yeah.
But I was kind of taking a look at this, and shout out to my man Nolly in the chat and my man Unbelievable in the chat. So we got the make under great guy in the house while we actually talking about a game that's really leaning under right here. So
he likes the under. Yeah, I can see that. What is that number? You know,
the number on this one is 120. It's down there. But these two teams, let's look at that though. So they're shooting. They're putting up about 56 shots a game on the Florida side, and they're putting up like 57 shots a game on the Michigan side. That's really low for teams. Now the only bad part about the 120 is, okay, what's the temperament of the teams that's in this game right now? Now, has Florida been over there just biting their nails to get out there and play? Has Michigan been over there just biting their nails to get out and play? Or are they two teams that's just going to take a classical approach and meet up and play their best game and go it out? But if you look at them, both of them really rely on defense.
Yeah.
So one thing I've been,
that reflects it in that total, right?
In college football,
that's a low number.
Yeah, that's a low number. My college football theory on this one, but I can't move it over here. But usually when two teams are the same type of team, like two under teams, it actually goes over. Or if it's two over teams, it goes under. Reason being is because they practice against the same thing, like they doing the same thing. So they they understand each other's theory right there. But basketball is a different creature because being an under team and you can control the pace. You could just shoot the shot at the last few seconds every time and control the clock to keep a low game. So my man Nolly, he'd be like, "You ain't running with me on the 120." I'd be like, "Man, a high school team can score 120. I don't know," and it gets me every time because what's real is real. They don't set those numbers down there for no reason.
I got a cousin of mine who caps hockey, and it's very similar because he says when you see a 5 hanging in hockey, he says bet, because how maybe score like 13 goals in a game now. Hockey's nuts the way they score goals. But he says when you see that 5, don't get scared. He says take the under. And he says if you see a 7, bet the over. He says the 7 seems high, go over. If this, like you said, 2 wrongs, I know what you're saying. 2 low numbers equal over. Sometimes it just depends on the sport.
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
And Nola, that's his forte, man. He's the under king, so I got to respect that.
Oh, man, he jumps in the sweatbox at the 120s, though. I don't know. That might be an over or pass for me. Like, I'd rather root for them to score 10 points in 2 minutes than the whole thing to be over in after the first half. So at this time, I think you don't know who's trying to show off or recruits or anything. Like I'm gonna leave that one alone to tell you the truth though on that.
Yeah, well, most people they're always on favorites and overs, most of the times, and that's built in too. So unless we got 2 dead under teams, then the books are probably a little more zeroed in, focused, and probably not a sexy game for public to bet an over, that type of thing. So usually. And those are the type of games maybe the books will have a sharper number on, when they have 2 teams that are like under type teams, but normally speaking, you're always going to get better value on the unders, I think.
Yeah, I see right here too. For the year, let me see. Florida is 11-24 to the under, and Michigan is 14-21 to the under. So that got under written all over it, man. My man Nolly over there probably having a great breakfast and excited to see how under it's gonna be. But shout out to y'all that's going under in that one. Let's bounce over to another game. Let me see what else we got out there. Here we go. The world want to know all about this one right here. Dude, we might be here for a while. Murray State, Florida State opened up Murray State +5. Now down to 4.5. Now that just reading that right there bothers me because they're making so much of a fuss about this kid over here at Murray State, and it opened at 5.5, but the line is barely down a point. If they really on this guy like that, it should have been down to like 4 or 3.5.
Yeah, well, I got bad news for Murray State today. They're going home. Not
Hey,
because I'm FSU. Listen, Florida State, they're not getting any respect. Number one is they're number 10 ranked team in the country to start off with, okay? They got bad seed at number 4. They could have been a 2-line seed easily. They had 27 wins. I know Murray State's a hot team. They got the kid that's a lights out player, and you know they were 12. They're the second. That's the other sexy team right now is Murray State. Them and Wofford, right?
yes.
But FSU had a real slow start in that game because I think it was an early start. It was a prime game. A lot of people were on that side, man. And that last game, a lot of people thought Vermont could take them out. You know, and you see that number dropped like friggin' 4 points. You know, which is crazy. But because they got that number, they said that the kid that was on Vermont, he was like an NBA player. You know, he's going to be a top round draft choice. But anyways, forget about that game. Today they're going to be more focused. They're going to be focused today, FSU. They're going to come out. They got 11 guys on the bench. Every player plays 10 minutes. They're too deep. They're too tall. They're too athletic. I think this game's a steal at 4.5 right now. I hope it goes down to 4. This is going to be a max play bet for me today is Florida State. Not because I'm an FSU fan, just because my brain tells me it's a max play bet today. And I know we're supposed to use money management, but if you want to fire on a game, this is the game to fire today.
So your brain be telling you stuff, Big Bagu? Your brain be talking about stuff like
this?
this?
It's knocking me. My head hurts when I look at that
game. I like it. I like it 100%, man. I think that Florida State is a big, like you said, they got the depth takes you a long way in college basketball. I can tell you that because, like, I'm not big on injuries in college sports because there's always a young kid, you know, freshman, whatever, sitting over there just itching to get on the court or the field and do their thing. So when you have depth, now these guys all get a different time. Like, you know, if this guy not working, I watch how they move the bigs around. If this guy's not working, then we're gonna put in this guy. And when I looked at them all, I said the starter is the weakest one, but you know, he's starting, you know what I mean? But some of the guys they put in are really tough, but I guess they're designed for different teams and different things. So Murray State, I followed the Ohio Valley Conference this year, and yeah, they have one superstar on the team. He's a guy that he's a Zion type guy that might have bypassed college if they didn't have the rule in play. So yeah, sometimes at guard play, if your guard play is that much better than the other team, that one guy, we seen it with my boy Trey that's over at the Hawks now when he was at Oklahoma. Some nights that team was trash. But some nights he could come out and drop 40 and get a couple dudes to drop a little more and they could win games. And that's what they did.
Same thing with Vermont. Same thing. I mean, Vermont was set up the same way. They had the one superstar player and they had 3 brothers playing. And they could shoot, you know, they could shoot long range and, you know, he could make, you know, he could run the floor to kid. But, I mean, there's too many athletes on the other side, you know, in my book. And that's a short number. I think it'd be now, I'm not big on first halves, but I think Florida State is going to come out a little more focused on this game here to get off to a quicker start. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the first halves, but maybe a little end game first half action. You know, like if maybe they get behind a little bit, if they don't get off to the first, you know, to the fast starts, let's say, maybe I might do a little end game on this one too. But definitely full game. I think they'll get them late in the game. You know, that like you said, they're deep. Mm-hmm. You know, they're athletes, and you know, I think they're going to wear them down.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it first half because if you gotta think, if you game planning for Murray State, then your game plan to beat this Florida State team, it's got to be get off fast and early. You know what I mean? So you might this Florida State team is built with depth for longevity. So yeah, they might jump out in the first half. They might go up by 10 by halftime. But the constant knocking on the head, the constant fatigue factor, and you know that'll be the final say for them. And late in the second half, Florida State just rolls them over. I say if Florida State can shoot decent, and in the second half 5 minutes left, hit a couple key shots. It's 47. Is that in 147 in this game? Oh my gosh. I didn't see that, Nolly. It opened at 144 and jumped up to 147 and a half.
But people coming in on the over, see?
But this Florida State team is based behind their defense. I think this might be a steal for an under game right here. Let's see. They both shooting pretty good. Murray State shooting 49%, Florida State shooting 44%. But I don't see Florida State raining from three like that. As a matter of fact, Florida State.
Oh, they usually don't.
Yeah, they only shoot 33% from the three. And Murray State only shoots 35, which is decent, but not great. Now, they both do shoot well from the free throw line. But I don't see – Florida State's a defensive-based team. They don't foul. They play good defense. That's what they do.
Yeah. They're like 70 points, 70 points, 72 points, 68 points. That's their range. They can get up in the 80s,
and
90s.
If you look at it for the year, Murray State is 16-13 to the over. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's only a 3-game difference. And then you got Florida State, who's 17 for 15 to the underdog. So this could be an easy game that everybody think is gonna go high that goes low right here. I think this is what you call in the streets. This is what we call sucker ducking. You know what I'm saying? You duck this little sucker to the side, and you go ahead and take your money and get on.
And don't be surprised if they get middled in a game like this. Like, let's say it opened at 140. What was it, 144?
144 and went up to 147.
And to 148. Somebody says seeing
148.
Unbelievable. Says he sees 148 too. So this game can land on 146. You know what I mean?
And in
other words, the sharp money got the people that bet the overs. They bet the over early, they won. And the people that bet the over early, late, they lost. And the people coming in on the unders, late like Noli and us, and guys, the sharps coming back in late, they catch the under. So, in other words, you just miss it. Let's say you bet the over, and you come up a point short, or you come up a half a point short, or 2 points short. Just that's the kind of game that happens. A game like this.
Yeah. I mean, but us handicappers, we season for the stuff like this. It gets hot. It gets steaming hot at the beginning, and it cools off. Gets hot again. Yeah. So it'll be a nice roller coaster, but I think it'll land under. Right now, a solid 70 points a game from teams is action a lot. Because some of these teams don't want to go home. I was telling somebody, there's a lot of factors. Like, look at this UC Irvine team. Like, do you want to come back to your little small dorm out here in Irvine? Nothing's in Irvine, right? You want to come back to that, or you want to keep traveling and playing games? And so they're going to play hard. They're going to beat spreads and all that kind of stuff at some point. Sometimes, like, it's only in the first half. But they're going to have that initiative to go out there because they don't want to go back to where they come from. Now, I don't know. Where is Murray State?
Murray State? I thought it was in Ohio, was it?
Oh, so that's like a home game for them? That game is in Ohio?
I don't know. Let me see where the heck they're at. I don't even know where Murray. It says in Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah, they're Ohio Valley Conference. So, yeah, they're somewhere near Ohio. This game, let me see where this game is at. Oh, it's in Connecticut. So, it's a little over.
Oh, it's in Hartford?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing with the Florida State game. The other day, they were playing against a New England team, Vermont. They were up that way. It was like a home game for them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, that's why they came out a little bit on Florida State, and then they went away. They ran out of gas. This is going to be the same thing, man. They're going to come out, and they're going to run out of gas. It might be an easy take, Murray State first half, Florida State full game. Easy as that.
Murray State is in Kentucky. Murray, Kentucky.
Yeah, they like it in Connecticut. Ain't much in Kentucky. So let's go over to the next game. We got Baylor and Gonzaga. This Gonzaga team, you think they were playing Jekyll and Hyde with the season and going to walk their way in this one? What you feel about Gonzaga?
Well, Gonzaga, you talking about the last game they played?
Yeah.
The first game?
No, I'm talking about overall for the tournament. This is a team a lot of people had penciled in. Do you think
it's
that
similar scenario for them like Florida State. You know, their big number coming out. They got off to a little slow start, and they wound up finishing strong. You know, that's one of my other plays today. I'm on Gonzaga today. I like them. Yeah, I mean they're number one seed. You know, not all the time the number one seeds come across. Hey, what's going on? The number one seeds, you know, not all of them are going to make it there, the Final Four. But I got them in a matchup with FSU down the road here, so that's what I'm hoping for.
And I think this Baylor team, this Baylor team kind of just made it by here and there. I never been impressive all year. This year, this Baylor team, I would say they played their course, and yeah, I think Gonzaga might be a good one. Even at the what is it? Let me see what the line is.
Yeah, Baylor took my team out the other day. That was one of my losses. I had the other side. I think they beat Syracuse, right?
Yeah, but Syracuse had the guard that was out.
Yeah, see, that's my fault because you know what I did? I shut my brain down when I seen Syracuse was playing in the dance, and I said they're going to play that zone defense. It's going to be tough to break them down, and that's my fault because see, that's what you call getting lazy because I didn't really get in there and do my homework to check the injuries and I just assumed that everything was going to be okay for Syracuse, and like you said, I'm thinking the same thing. Baylor's one of these teams that's kind of floundering around. They're not really, they should be there. They shouldn't be there. But, they played early in the season, and they had some quality wins. Don't get me wrong, because they played some tough games, with Texas Tech and Oklahoma, those teams. But I just kind of went to sleep on that one. And then Baylor moves on, and now they got to play Gonzaga. So got by Syracuse, but now you got to play Gonzaga.
So first the brain talks to you, and then you got something where you can completely cut the brain off. This is an intricate thing you got going on there on top of your neck, Big Ragu. Hey, but yeah, and the line is saying the same thing too, man. How you go from 12.5 jumping up to 14? It's probably gonna be 26. This might be a first half and full game bet right here. Gonzaga. I mean, Gonzaga's like a freak of nature to some teams, and then to some teams, it's just the competition level that they want to play. And this one right here, they'll probably be like a freak of nature to Baylor. Baylor look like they belonged in the NIT after this.
Well, you know what? This game's probably going to be the biggest point spread I'm going to bet in the tournament. Cause, I mean, I wasn't going to bet anything more than double digits. I told myself, especially trying to bet a favorite, because you know how everything plays kind of close in the first rounds, but now we're technically in the second round, and for them to still be like a double-digit favorite, that's got to speak volumes there.
I was saying to myself the other day, I was like, wow, man. So when these teams in college basketball, when the point spread gets to like 17, 18, 20 and above, I think the line setters ran out of numbers. Like, I mean, you can't really put down a 25 or they have them, but some of those lines look like they ran out of numbers. This one, they kind of running out of numbers too. That's probably why they set it where it is. It may be close. Maybe they'll get them by 16 or 18, but it may be kind of close. But the fact of the matter is, they know they're gonna run up. That's why they set it at the 12, knowing it's gonna go up a little more. Because if they would have set it high, everybody would have jumped underneath it, like it was second round. So
they were testing the waters with the numbers.
They know what they're doing.
They anticipate action coming a certain way. That's what people think. A lot of people say, "Well, why they set numbers this way?" It's not because they take all their analytics and they squeeze these numbers out. The big factors built into the numbers. They're going to anticipate which way the public's going to bet, because that's all they're basically doing when they set numbers anyway. But then they got to be careful because of the sharps too, because the sharps, they come in and they throw a big chunk down. And it's not always the amount that the sharps are playing, but they're watching who's making the bets. And when the casinos see who's coming and making the bets, that's when they're adjusting the numbers too. So it ain't always about the money volume. It's about who's making the bets, which way the action's going to go. So if they see a bunch of sharps coming in, maybe the sharps don't like the game strong, but they're still betting it, and they'll still make the adjustments on the numbers.
Yeah, that's what's up.
It ain't always dictated by the money.
Yeah, let's jump to the next one. Minnesota and Michigan State. Another high number here. Opened up at
Yeah.
10, but it's still sitting around 10, 10 and a half. What does that tell
Yeah.
you?
Well, that's a conference game, right? More or less. Even
Yeah,
though
more or
it's
less.
a bracket game, it's a conference game. I don't know what they've done during the year. I didn't look at the number, the history on the two teams playing each other this year. But that tells me that Michigan State's probably going to be the play. I'm not playing the game, but I know Minnesota. That was another one. I had the other side on that one. I lost that game too. That was the Iowa State game, right? And they lost. Is that what it was?
No, Minnesota, was it Iowa State? I don't think they beat Iowa State.
No, it wasn't. It was another Big Ten team. It was Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I see this Minnesota team though. I have my eye on the Minnesota team. I think this one right here, I might take those points right there because this Minnesota team, size wise, are really scrappy, and they move around a lot. And the Michigan State team, they can get a little flat sometime on you. So 10 points might be a little bit too much, especially if Michigan State got their eyes on the future at all. They know they need to conserve some gas. They're not considering no point spread or nothing like that. They'll be happy to win by 4, 2, 1.
Yeah.
But this year in the season, they played.
I don't know about the number, but I know Michigan State. That's a tournament team year in, year out. And I think I mentioned this last time I talked to you. Tom Izzo.
And right here too, I just brought it up right here. Last two meetings, one was in February. No, last meeting was in February. The other one, 2019. Before it was 2018. So when they met in February this year, the line was 13.5. Michigan beat them. Michigan State beat them 79-55. So might be a total mismatch. I don't know. That's kind of that kind of makes me standoffish right there.
When I was in Vegas back in November, like early season tournament, Thanksgiving time, had 4 teams playing. Had Michigan State, North Carolina, Texas, and UCLA. UCLA, they were garbage in that tournament. But anyways, Texas was pretty decent. But the championship game wound up being UNC and Michigan State. I said, you're probably looking at the national championship game possibly right here, But and UNC, Michigan State beat them in that tournament. But that's a very athletic team. They can do it all, man. I think them like Florida State, they got dissed on the seeding too. They were number 2. They should have been they could have been easily a number 1 seed in their bracket. But what seed are they now in this? Are they a 2?
What do they have this? Where I'm looking right now, it don't say it.
I don't have the bracket in front of me. But anyways, I know a lot of people were talking about they got screwed on the seeding, whatever it was. Might have been a 3 for that matter. But they could have very easily been a number 1 seed too. So I think they move on easily.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a pass on that game as well.
Yeah, I don't know about the number though. That's what's the 10. The 10 is scary to me.
It's crazy. After yesterday, I was so eager.
Anthony says they're a 2 seed. Thanks, Anthony.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Anthony. I was so excited for March Madness, and now that it's actually here, I didn't really care for the little card they had yesterday. I don't care for the card today. The first day I like that card, but this card it's no thrills, no jills, no nothing. Let's go over to Villanova and Purdue. I heard a lot of people in the chat and stuff. Everybody's yelling Nova right here. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm on Nova too in this game.
But you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be different with your one pants leg up, big ragu.
I know, but see, when I woke up this morning, I didn't know who put their pants on yet.
Man.
So, yeah, I like Nova. I like Jay Wright. I know that's another team. Not similar to Kentucky, but they've got they're basically a 2-man team, which are kind of picking up the other guys. They got 2 seniors. They got a pretty decent backcourt. I know Purdue's is long and tall, and they're they're probably not an overrated team. They're probably right there in the thick of things too. So this will probably be one of the better games they in actuality. I think this would probably be like one of the top two games to watch as far as a back and forth type of game. But I think I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take Nova in this one.
Now let me get to the darker side of this. So, well, on the lighter side, they paved in a nice little path for Nova to get their shit together to get to where they want to be.
They're rough starting out.
I think I was telling my son yesterday. I said no team with the V in it was gonna go too far because it's Villanova and this Virginia team that's supposed to be these top powerhouses. They play so slow. They play with such a lack of luster that I want both of those teams out of here. But looking at this game, this is a walkthrough for Villanova right here. And you gotta think, Villanova been shooting bad for 2 games in a row. They're gonna come out and they're gonna finally shoot well, and they'll be able to win by a nice margin today. So I like Villanova in that respect, but I don't want to see them keep going. If I happen to see Purdue upset them, I feel greatly saddened for you, Big Ragu, and your bet.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy to get the V out the way.
We're going to get a V for victory today. Take Villanova. That's all I got to say.
That's right. So not much to say about that game. Purdue, real ugly team right there. Should have been out already. I don't see a big future for Purdue in this tournament. Even if they get past Villanova, it's going to be automatic next round.
I picked Purdue in my bracket, and I'm going against my bracket today. Okay, so that tells you something.
You had your brain on idle when you took it, so now you got the.
I had my buddies try to brainwash me on Purdue, how good they were. So I put it down. They're from Indianapolis. I got some, in my work, I deal with a lot of people in Indianapolis, so they kept pumping me up about it. So I said, I was filling the bracket out. I put them down. Then I looked at it this morning. I threw the bracket in the garbage. I said, I'm putting my money on Indianapolis, and Purdue's on paper. So that's all. Done with Purdue. On to the next one.
Now, here's the big one right here. Which side, everybody in the chat, please type out which side you own. Because the line is nice and low in this Auburn and Kansas game.
Auburn, Kansas?
Line opened up at 1.
I call them no cover Kansas, right? No cover Kansas as a favorite. Give me Roy Williams. Listen to me. I says, give me Bill Self and some points. That's an auto play for me. It's like taking the Patriots plus the points. Give me Kansas plus the points.
I don't know. For me, I'm really liking this other team on the other side, man. I don't know.
Well, Kansas, early in the year there was a bet you could make in Vegas. Like it was like these top 4 teams versus the rest of the field. It's some stupid bet, you could, and it's short odds, to win the national championship like they had North Carolina. They had all the top. Kansas was one of the 4 teams, but anyways, we know they disappointed during the regular season. They didn't look like the Kansas of old. They didn't nowhere near image of the teams of the past Kansas teams, but right now, they won they beat Kansas, the Kansas State game. They won that game. It's like the first time they really didn't win the Big 12 in forever, right? This is the first year they passed on it. So yeah. I'm thinking, this is going to be their show out game to get to the 16, and they're getting points. So I'm going to take Kansas. I think they're going to be really focused in this game.
Now I'm going to take a further look at this Auburn team. I think Auburn might be
overachieving right now. Auburn.
They might be the sleeper team that's gonna bleed through. Now they already have one of those, let's say in the boxer type way. They already got a softball style. They believe in releasing the ball early in the shot clock. They like to get the ball up. They like to shoot the 3. So they really out there. They really out there living and dying by the 3. Basically, they're living a little whole life. They're out there living and dying by the 3. So with that being said, I'm gonna take a little look into it.
Yeah.
Now, overall shooting, Kansas is 46%. So that's a good one for Kansas. But shooting the three over here for Auburn, they at 37%. Um, this game might just come down to rebounding. And when we
Yeah.
look at rebounding, Kansas is rebounding total of 38, and Auburn is at 34. So I don't know. The line is pretty much set at a good rate right there, like you said. Plus a couple points might be nice to take a big school like Kansas, but I'm gonna pull my pants leg up on one side since everybody's probably taking Kansas. I'm gonna pull my pants leg up on one. No, actually everybody's on Auburn, huh? It opened at 1 and it's at -2 Auburn. So money's coming in on Auburn, but that's kind of weird.
I know there's some sharp money on Kansas for a fact. That I know. There's some sharp-sided money on Kansas, and that's why that's not the only factor why I'm taking Kansas, but I think Auburn. I think they're overachieved. I mean, they're the first 5 seed to win the SEC. Not that they're running on fumes right now because they're playing on a lot of emotion. That last game, they probably should have lost that game. They make a couple free throws, they wouldn't be here. But they move on, they marched on, whatever. Now they did the team that they in the last game they didn't defend the three. They let that kid Harper open the whole game, and he kind of buried them. So I think if they play perimeter, which Kansas I'm sure they're going to do, I think it's going to slow their game down a little bit. And I think this game's going to be this might be a good under game because the way Kansas defense is going to set up. I don't know what the number is on that. Just thinking out loud right now. So maybe Noli could maybe shed a little light on us.
The numbers up to 148 on this one. It's kind of high. But you got
like over. He says 146 and a half.
You're gonna be expecting Auburn to have a bad shooting day on that one. Now, when it comes down to a sneaky line,
they better defend it a little bit, a little more defense on the three. I'm going to say in this game. So whatever that equates to, whether they hit them or they don't, I think it's going to be contested a lot more in this game than it was in the last one.
Hey, my boy Ghoster showed up in the house. He said he got 146 and a half. I seen 148. So he jumped on it early, and he's liking the over on that one. My man Unbullyable said he's on Auburn too. Now, when the line,
everybody thinks they're gonna hit the threes. Everybody thinks they're gonna light the board up with the threes.
Well, let's take a look at those threes and see how good they've been shooting in the last few games. So looks like they scored 78 against New Mexico State. They scored 84 against Tennessee. I would say they've been having decent shooting games. But the New Mexico State game was kind of close. So they almost looked like they were needed to be knocked off, and they made it past to this Kansas. This is a real weary game for me. But I'm leaning Kansas now because, for one, it's great value taking Kansas, a team like Kansas, at this rate. But the second part is, I did this the other day at a good success rate. Watching Bovada, who will probably be in this little poker tournament on Monday with Bovada. But Bovada, they kind of tell secrets at times on their line movement. If you watch them, they're usually either the highest or the lowest in the game because they play games with the line movement. Now, at one point of this whole total line movement, they were giving Kansas 2.5 at -115, right? But now it then flattened out to an even 2, both sides at 110. So being that it went up to 2.5 and they went to 115,
come back down.
I think they know Kansas. They know something, and Kansas.
Plus, they're Canadian up there. The people that run Bovada, they're Canadians that run that. So that's they're probably hanging around. Ghoster probably knows the guys. Gogi, those guys that run up in where's he from? In Belleville?
He's from Bell Vegas. I call it Bell Vegas. See? I don't know, Ghoster. Let us know. But yeah, I kind of like Kansas on that one. I got a lot of value in there. I got my boy Yola in the house too, man. He likes Kansas as well. But I like Kansas on that one, man.
Harry's on the right side too. Get that money, Harry. Go to the bank after the game.
That's right. But yeah, man, is that our? I think that's the full card right there. Anything else you wanted to add on the card today?
Um, let's see. I got my FSU, Gonzaga, Villanova. Oh, and the other one. There was one other one I tweeted out earlier.
FSU. Was it the Florida Michigan game? You on Florida?
No.
Gonzaga.
I'll pull it up, brother.
Villanova and Kansas. Looks like LSU is putting their foot down on Maryland just like I expected. And
putting their foot down, huh?
Yeah, Indiana caught up to Arkansas a little bit right there, 40-37. I think I'm gonna warm up. I'm gonna just take a little sprinkle on Wolford. I'm gonna warm up right there. I'm gonna watch the Florida game. I think first bet I'm gonna make is Florida State.
FSU, Gonzaga, Villanova, and Kansas. Those four.
FSU, Gonzaga, Villanova, and Kansas. There we go.
Yeah.
That sounds like a little 14 you might just want to toss to the side too.
Yeah, but I know parlays are tough, man. But I like playing with house money on parlays.
That's right.
Once I get no house money, I'll play with their money a little bit.
Parlays is like adding bacon and avocado. Sometimes you can't always add that stuff, but on a good day, you go ahead and add that bacon and avocado to that sandwich.
Right. It's like when you're tracking, you're playing win place money on horses. You start playing the exotics when you get their money. That's the same thing.
Exactly.
So, take a shot with their money. Don't try to play catch up with your money. If you're losing, don't try to hit parlays because you get buried.
But I'm probably gonna end my day with the Kansas. If all goes wrong, right? You can do whatever you want. If all goes wrong, just take Kansas at the end of the day, get some of your money back.
All right.
How about that?
Get it early. Listen, I don't know what time the FSU game is on, but that's gonna be. I know we preach money management and units and whatnot, but I'm gonna sprinkle a few more units on FSU today because I think that's my best. That's my max play of the day.
FSU.
I know there's no such thing as one play greater than the other, but that's the game I like in my heart better than the other ones.
And I'm gonna say the one that I like in my heart the best, and just take your time with it. Don't expose too much of your bankroll. Just sprinkle a little something on Wofford on the money line for me.
All right, you got it, brother.
That's it, man. We appreciate everybody showing up to the chat. My man Ghoster, man, you're gonna have to hit Big Ragu on the Twitter group about these fairground plays today, man. We're going to go on and shut it down. This has been March Madness, round 2. And, Ragu, we got to get back together for round 3. I think it'll probably be, Monday?
Yeah, Monday-ish, yeah.
Monday or something like that, yeah. But we'll get together. Maybe we can go on we'll get together, man. We don't go on early. We'll go on for the West Coast time. Always a pleasure, Big Ragu, hanging out with you, breaking down these games. Oh, shout out to my whole chat right there. Unbelievable. McGhoster, my boy Kayola, Ray Williams stopped by, Noli knows. We appreciate all the love, man. Make sure you tell a friend, come back, subscribe when we come on live out of nowhere like we did today. It's always a fun thing, man. We out of here. Peace. Tuning in to Who-Bangin Sports Talk. Hey, do me a favor. Head on over to our YouTube page, look for Who-Bangin Sports Talk, and go ahead and give us a quick subscribe. And also, after you hit the subscribe, hit the little notification button. It'll let you know when we have our latest shows. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Enjoy the show.